Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for another yoga flow. Please do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying and doing these flows with me. It really just helps me to continue offering these free flows on here. And as always, please do comment and feedback to me on how you're getting on. I always love to hear from you. So yes, today we are going to be doing a heart opening kind of dynamic vinyasa flow. So do have any blocks or props to support you in your practice. And as always, we're really listening to the body, honouring what we need today, and taking a child's pose at any time that you need to. So we'll start with grounding into the class, so find that comfortable seated position. And bring the hands to the knees, palms facing down. Take a big shoulder roll here and let the shoulder blades run down your back. And then start to close down the eyes or take a steady gaze out in front. Start to breathe in and out through the nose, slow, soft breaths. Just take a moment to check in with the body, the breath, the mind. And when we're thinking about opening into this heart area, thinking about Anahata, the heart chakra, in this practice today, this is all about connection, balance, love. Our heart area, our heart chakra, is where the upper and lower chakras meet. So it's a really important chakra. Opening the eyes back up now if you had them closed. And we're going to bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, so our prayer position, our heart center position. Inhale, open the arms out to cactus, opening across the chest. Take another inhale here. On the exhale, twist to the right, float the arms down, follow with the gaze over that right shoulder. Inhale, back to center, cactus the arms. Exhale, take it over to the left side. Scanning into the body, noticing how the spine's feeling, the back of the body, the shoulders, the neck, being the observer. Following with your gaze over the left shoulder. And come back to center to this cactus position and release the arms down. We're going to move into our tabletop position now, so you're all fours. So we've got the hips above the knees, and we want to keep these hips above the knees here. As you exhale, walk the hands down, find your melting heart pose, and Anahata puppy pose. Getting my words muddled today. Breathing here. So the heart and the forehead's melting down towards the mat, opening into the shoulders, the cervical part of the spine. One more breath here. Inhale, walk the hands back in, so hands are underneath the shoulders. Bend through this right arm, thread the left arm underneath. It's coming into our thread, the needle. And then you're either going to reach this right hand up to the ceiling, or you're going to see if you can take your mudra here. So the palms of the hands are coming together, pressing together. And as you do this, see if you can feel a little bit of a further twist, further opening across the chest. Again, you could be working and staying here, or maybe you start to work with lifting this right leg away from the mat. Staying with the breath. Bring the right leg back in with control. Don't worry if you rolled all over the place here. Release the hands, right hand's coming down to the mat to support you. Press that into the mat and unravel. So now we'll come on to the other side. So left hand is grounding into the mat, left arm bends, right arm threads underneath. So the right side of my head's come down to the mat. You can either have these left fingertips reaching up to the sky, or you're going to find your mudra again here. So palms of the hands coming together, hands pressing in together, finding that opening, feeling that twist into the body. Option to work here, or you can start to lift that left leg away, working into some balance as well. Keep breathing. Well done. Float the left leg back in. Release the hands. Left hand comes to the ground to support you and unravel. So coming back to your all fours position. Tuck your toes under from here. Exhale, press the mat away with your hands. Downward facing dog. Lifting the hips to the sky, lengthening through the spine. Sending your gaze between the knees. And then we're going to inhale. Lift this right foot away, bend the right knee, bring your right knee to tap the right elbow. Bring the knee over, tap the left elbow. Bring it back to tap the right elbow. And float it back to downward facing dog. Coming on to the other side. Inhale, float the left knee forwards, tap the left elbow. Can you bring it over, tap the right elbow. Bring it back to the left elbow. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Well done. Inhale, walk the feet in. Bring the hands to the hips. Keep some softness in the legs if you need to. Inhale, lift the chest. Come up to Tadasana Mountain Pose at the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your fingertips up to the sky. Lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forwards fold. Bend the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step or jump back to plank. And move through your chaturanga. So inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to check in. Observing, asking yourself the question perhaps, how am I feeling? How am I feeling today? How am I feeling in this practice? Mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, make space for that. That's what we're here for. On your next inhale, we're going to sweep this right leg through. Bring your right knee down just near that right wrist. And we're going to come into an active pigeon. Okay? So if this feels too much, you can bring the back leg down if you need to. I'm going to bring the hands into Kali Mudra, so fingers interlaced but index fingers touching, lifting through the fingers, the crown of the head. So using lots of strength here through the hips, the legs. Float the hands back down to the mat, ground through the hands, reach back to your downward facing dog, right leg comes up to the sky. So we're finding our 3-leg dog here, opening through the hip. From here, we're going to bring the weight into the left hand, opening out, bringing that right toes down to the mat, finding your wild thing, shining the heart up towards the ceiling, lifting up and out through this left shoulder. So my right leg's bent, the left leg's lengthened, breathing here. Well done. Keep that lift through the left shoulder. We're not dumping into the left shoulder, we're lifting here. Come back to plank, step the right foot through. Sweep the fingertips up to the sky, high lunge. Lifting up and out from the waist. And then power into your right leg, find your warrior three. No worries if you added in some extra steps. I say this in a lot of my practices just because when we're flowing through in some of these transitions, you know, some days there might need to be a couple of extra steps added in. That's okay. Hips are square. Strong center line of energy through the body. Well done. Bend through that right leg. Bring the hands down. Step it back to plank. And we vinyasa. Inhale. Upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale. Back to your downward facing dog. And keep lifting the hips up to the ceiling. Strong through the arms and the shoulders. Press the mat away with the hands. Inhale, we're going to float the left leg through and find our active pigeon. So left knee comes to the outside of that left wrist. Reach the fingertips up to the sky. Find your Kali Mudra here. Active through that back leg. Really lifting up and out from the waist. Well done. Staying with me. Float the hands down to the mat and make your way back to your three-leg dog. Left leg floats up to the sky, opening into that hip space. Bend that leg now. Weight's coming into the right hand, lifting up and out through the right shoulder, then floating the left toes down to the mat, finding that wild thing. Opening into that heart space again here. Breathing. Floating back to plank. Thread that left foot through between the hands. Reach the fingertips up to the sky. Find your high lunge. Lifting up and out from the pelvis. Taking a breath here, and then we power into the left leg. Finding warrior three. Breathing into any wobbles and shakes. You can always take your blocks here underneath the hands if you wish to. So always modifying the class where you need to. Doesn't matter whether it's called a power flow, a vinyasa flow, a hatha flow. Modifications and taking blocks and props is always going to be a valid part of this practice. We're all different. We all need different things on different days. Bending through that left leg, step it back to plank, and we vinyasa our way through. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Take a moment to check in. Option for a lovely child's pose here if you want to take that. Remember, child's pose is there at any time. There's no right or wrong. There's no judgment. There's no option that's better than another. Just remember you're here and showing up for you today in this practice. Taking what you need. On your next inhale, going to shift the shoulders forward, so we're coming into a plank position. We're going to bring the weight onto the right hand, finding Vashisthasana, so our side plank. Seeing if you can take our variation here, bending this left knee. And then from here, again, I really want you to press the right hand into the mat, lift up and out through the shoulder, float the left toes down, find another wild thing. Now, either staying in the wild thing, or if transition to wheel is in your practice, you can transition to your wheel here. Just be really mindful that if this isn't in your practice or it doesn't feel good today, you really don't have to take it. Do not force anything. And making your way back as gracefully as you can. Float back through to plank. Well done. And vinyasa. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Pausing here for a moment before we come to the other side. And just remembering this transition from wild thing to wheel is there's a lot going on with the wrists, the shoulder mobility, wrist mobility, all sorts of things. So be super, super mindful of where you're at. The wheel might not even be in your practice, and that's okay. Stay working with the wild thing. Okay, so coming to the other side. So this time we're putting the weight into the left hand, opening out to our Vashisthasana, our side plank. You could work here. Maybe you want to take a little variation with that leg, so you can bend that right leg, bend the right knee. Okay, and then right toes are coming back. We're lifting that heart up to the sky, opening into our wild thing. Option, if you've got space, I'm gonna create a little more space for myself here, is to then make it back into your wheel if that's in your practice. Breathing here. And making your way back as gracefully as you can. Meeting back in plank. You can come out of your wheel by just dropping down to the mat as well, guys. So very dynamic transition. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And we're going to exhale back to downward facing dog. Feeling that heat and energy in the body. Lifting the hips to the sky. Exhale, drop the knees down to the mat. And sit your hips down to the heels. Find a child's pose. Rest the head down towards the mat. So just taking a little bit of a counter pose to what we just did here with our wild thing. Then you're either going to stay in your child's pose, or you're going to inhale and walk the hands in. So if you're feeling like you have a little more in the tank for your heart openers, your back bends, then I'm going to offer you our camel pose now. But if you're feeling like you're done with that today, then come into your child's pose, or stay in your child's pose, I should say. So hands come to the sacrum. Elbows are drawing in together. And again, you could take a modified camel. You can tuck your toes under here as well. That can be a really nice option for camel, to bring the heels up closer to help you feel a little bit more secure in your camel. It's always a nice option to try. So we're drawing the elbows in towards each other. Hips are pressing forwards. We're using the glutes and the thighs to support our spine. Inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling, lifting up and out first. On the exhale, head drops back. You could be staying higher up here. You could be bringing the hands down towards the heels here. Opening into your camel. Option to drop the head back, but you don't have to. Keep pressing the hips forwards. done. And with control, keeping that engagement in the glutes and the legs, hands come back to the lower back, lifting the head, slowly coming away. Sit the hips down towards the heels. Take a gentle release from side to side. And from here, staying in your kneeling position. If you have longer, please do come into a longer shavasana or meditation. But otherwise, in your kneeling position or seated position here, bring the hands to the thighs, palms facing down. Relax the shoulders. Let the shoulder blades run down your back. Closing the eyes. Softening all the muscles in your face. Relax the jaw, the mouth, the cheeks, the forehead. Notice any sensations within the body. Opening the eyes back up when you're ready. Thank you so much for being here and practicing with me. There was some quite dynamic transitions in that practice, so just remember that these are short, condensed practices on here on this channel. I always recommend that, adding in whatever you need on either side of the practice. Doing kind of further relaxation and stretches towards the end, especially after practice like this, rehydrating. But thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe. Check out the link below to the other things that I offer on my website and my online membership. I would love for you to come and be part of that community with me. But being here on this channel on YouTube is more than enough as well, and I'm really, really grateful. So yeah, thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you again very soon. Bye-bye.